We're going to talk about 10 ways to evaluate the market. But then, why are we talking about this lesson? It's because we're all in business. And so as business owners, being a business owner, we we all understand exactly what we're doing, but do we always understand who we're talking to? And it's super clear that as we do this, um, what we know versus who we're talking to becomes two different things. And you start to realize that in terms of like sales, in terms of when people aren't buying, or when your messaging isn't necessarily crossing over the way that you would like. So this is how we evaluate the market that we're talking to. So I'm excited. Let's get going. My goal, guys, going forward, my goal is to keep this 1 hour, y'all. Class is gonna be 1 hour, 8:30 to 9:30 when we're done. So I'll be having to say that to my students at Georgia State. Look, if you can give me an hour, I promise you. So yes, so one hour is my goal for night school moving forward. So let's get started. Let's jump right in. All right, let's recap. As we always do these things, it's super critical for us to recap. So in the recap, what did we talk about last time? Who did the homework, guys? Who was able to do the homework and say kind of what they are, what they did, everything else? Um, I help who solve what problem by offering solution and earn revenue by how you get paid, right? So this is the value creation. Um, if you needed the class is actually up on YouTube. So if you need to watch it again, you can watch it again. If you need the homework, the homework is in the Seed Village, guys. And we're gonna talk about that at the end. But this is kind of what we did because we wanted that sentence, that statement, right? We talked about value last class. And that value, it just kind of presented itself. It showed itself, but was it clear? Was it concise? So we knew it, but then how do we explain it? So this is kind of the verbiage that we gave that we wanted us to come up with to be able to help us explain what we do. Um, so as we kind of move forward in today, we're gonna get into really evaluating the market like a CEO. My goal is to teach you guys how to do it just like the big boys do it, just or the big girls, right? Especially now. They some dogs, they some dogs. But like a CEO, y'all, you guys know, like I'm gonna show y'all it's literally framework, and that framework gives us confidence. And so I'm gonna teach us the analysis and the ways that they do it. But first, you guys know we always got to level set. What is a market? What is a market? What is a market? We always got to level set first. And first, what is a market? So a market is a group of people with shared need, desire, or problems who are willing to pay to solve it. So think of that group, right? Who are we talking to? What are we saying to them? Who are we targeting specifically? That is the market of people. Very similar to a demographic, right, of people. So very similar to a certain age, a certain group, a certain, right? If you guys, I grew up in church. So the people who created those Martin Luther King church fans, they wasn't selling them in schools. Schools wasn't their target market. Who was their target market? Who was the Martin Luther King church fans target market, y'all? Y'all know who it was. Who did they sell to? They sold to churches, maybe funeral homes too, because it was definitely a funeral home on the back. Alex know about these Boyd. But so that's what we know about markets, right? Understanding who our market is, super important. So when I think about someone who understood their market, I think about Fubu. Y'all remember Fubu, y'all? We're gonna talk about Fubu as the case study later on, but y'all remember Fubu? Um, and think Fubu for us by us, for us by us. Who was the market for Fubu? Talk to me. Talk to me. Who was the market for us by us? What does that mean? Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. Who was the market for Fubu? For us by us. Yes, us black folk. They knew. They knew. They knew. Hey, Kenya Johnson. They knew it was for us. That's who Fubu was for. They didn't try to sell to everyone. They made it very clear who who we're targeting, and we're gonna talk about why they felt good. Hip hop culture, good, Alex. I like that. And that market 100% embraced them and made them iconic. Um, so why does a market evaluation matter? Why does market evaluation matter? So for one, it's we're gonna go ahead and read it, but market evaluation is critical. Let's read the definition real quick. You guys know how we do. We gotta have, we gotta level set. We gotta level set. But before we get into the lesson, we gotta level set. Market evaluation is critical to ensure product market fit. The alignment between what you're offering and what you're doing are actively looking to buy. We're going to go through. I have about 5 reasons why it matters, and we're going to go to it. So number one, it saves us time, energy, and money. So before we decide to jump into business, we need to jump into market evaluation, right? We need to leap right into it. For one, again, it saves us time and money. So without market evaluation, you can spend months perfecting an offer that no one actually wants. How many of y'all been there? How many of y'all been there, right? To where you got this wonderful offer, you feel good about it, and you don't get the feedback you really want, right? You like, hey, you know what? I didn't do that right. Knowing who wants what you offer and what they're willing to pay helps you focus on only what matters. So it condenses you, right, to not be all over the place. I know who I'm talking to. Clearly, I know who I'm talking to. I know who I want to talk to. So that's one reason why it matters. It saves us time, energy, because we spend so much time constructing these, um, all these, prompting these AI prompts. We spend so much time prompting y'all. We spend so much time prompting, and uh, and y'all know how that go. But being serious, we still spend a lot of time, right? Doing it, spending money. I done spent money on so many marketing people, and the thing about like marketing access is that a lot of times they don't tell you what to do, right? A lot of these, marketing people don't necessarily tell you what to do. They actually, just do what you tell them to do, right? This is the market, this is what we're gonna go for, and they just create it for you. So we got to make sure our market, even more so on the owner, we got to make sure our market is tight. Two, it reveals your real opportunities, right? You just don't want to be good. You want to be needed. We want to know who needs us. Market evaluation shows you where demand already exists and where you can plug into a real gap. So as we learn the market, in this program today, right? As we learn the market and we go in, we're going to find out exactly who wants us, who wants what we're giving, what's problem are we solving. Um, Number three, validates the that you can get paid. Respectfully, respectfully, passion is not a business model, guys. Guys, passion is not a business model, right? If you want passion and you passionate about something, I'm gonna say, beloved, I need you to go nonprofit with love, right? With love, and then what we do with love, and then what they do, beloved, tell them, beloved, I need you to go nonprofit. I need you to go nonprofit because passion is not a business model. Evaluating the market confirms that you are already spending money on similar services, so you are not guessing. You are entering a proven lane. So when you evaluate the market, you've seen people pay for this already, right? If I'm opening up a coffee shop, I know people want coffee. It's like, okay, I know people want coffee, right? They drink it all the time. They drink it. As a matter of fact, in this area, they drink it a lot in this area. So really just evaluating that market. But beloved, again, passion is not a business model. All right. Passion is not a business model. With love, with love. All right. It also guides your messages. So when you know who you're talking to, and you know their pain points, you know what they go through. So that's why we evaluate the market. Again, I'm gonna show you how to evaluate it, but that's how we evaluate. That's why we evaluate it. This makes marketing easier and helps you understand. it helps you stand out in crowded spaces, right? So back on the coffee shop, right? That's a very crowded space. I'm starting to see a lot of these coffee shops open. And it's almost like locally, it's becoming like a convenience store. Like if you in a neighborhood and you ain't got no coffee shop, what are we doing, right? Because everybody kind of needs places like that. So then, but I don't need one 2 minutes apart, right? How far can it? So I need to evaluate my market. And then if I do have one 10 minutes apart and a customer has to choose to drive left to the other one and drive right to me, how do I stand out? So I got to evaluate the market. I got to do a competitive analysis. I got to do all those things, and things like that. And we're going, well, I can't wait to teach y'all about competitive analysis. Man, I'm gonna make sure y'all know everything about that, 'cause that's critical. And then keeps you adaptable, keeps you adaptable. Um, Markets change, new trends, new competitors, new. It's always going to be new. So when you're doing market evaluation, it really helps you understand where the industry is at its current state, right? For a lot of reasons. So you're not stuck, being a traditionalist and stuck in your ways. And you can be whatever you want, but you remember, if it ain't making money, it ain't making sense, right? This is why we're not a nonprofit. We are for profit. I want everybody that's a part of this to make as much money as they possibly can, right? Not only because they have a desire to, but because we have the education and understanding, right, of what we're doing and why we're doing it. So super, super critical there. Okay. So now we move to key terms. Let me make my switch on my screen. Let me make my switch on my screen. All right. So now we're going to key terms, right? We're going to key terms to know, key terms to know. So market, let's talk about it. Market, who are we selling to? That's what we're doing, right? Market, who are we selling to? Niche, the specific slice of that market. So that's specifically who we're talking to, right? Why we're talking to them. That's the niche. Demand. Demand is, do they want or need it right now? What is the demand for it? What do they want to, I mean, what do they want? What do they need at this very, 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 very second? Is there demand for it? Do they need it today? Do they need it every week? Do they need it every month? Right? What is the demand for the product that you're doing? If you're in real estate, like my man, there's always demand for real estate. But right now, here in Atlanta, Georgia, this is a buyer's market, right? Right. So this is a buyer's market. There are a lot of houses out there. So, it goes up, supply and demand. Saturation. Is it too many? Is it too many? Is it too many? Is it too many of it? Is it too many? That's what saturation is. Is it too many of them? Right? That plays a part. That plays a part in and saturation is important because I myself have been drowned by saturation in my cannabis dispensary. Saturation was the main reason why cannabis kind of went down in Oklahoma. It was just too many for customers to choose from, and when it's so many, that means the customers have what's called buyer power, and when they have what's called buyer power, that means they can low key determine the price. It's like a race to the bottom at that point, right? We're racing to the bottom when it's saturation. So you never want to be in a saturated market unless you can dominate it, or you can monopolize it, or you have a way to be uniquely different than everybody and stand out even in a saturated market. So it's possible, but there are some critical factors for us to know. um Viability, right? Can you build and grow here long term? So is it just a hustle? So even if there's demand, even if you found a niche, even if it's saturation, can you, right, can you do this long term? And it's not to say that it doesn't mean that you can't be successful. You just have to know. So when we're going through this, these are the terms that you have to know. So and that's kind of where I want us to be as business owners. And not even kind of, this is where I want us to be as business owners. Because when we are having these conversations about business and you're saying, I want to be in business, I want to do this, I'm gonna say cool, right? I'm gonna say cool, and we're gonna talk about it. But then in your mind, you have to be able to say all these things because you've answered your market, your niche, demand, saturation, viability, right? You've answered those questions and you said those things, right? So we can think about it and we can say, we may think about two or three of them, like demand. We always talk about demand, niche. We always talk about niche, right? But we got to be able to just answer those questions and just say check, 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 check. I feel good. Let's push, right? So, as we move forward, oh, hold on a second. I went too fast. What did I do? Okay. All right. So now we got our key market factors. So now we're going to learn. We're going to learn. I told you I got to, I got an hour. I got an hour. I got an hour. I'm pushing this thing. I'm pushing this thing, but we about to learn. We about to learn. So get your pencils, get your pens, get your, everything you need. Let's grab it. Okay. So one of the things that we need to know when we're evaluating the market, it's urgency, right? Take notes, urgency, urgency, urgency. Um, is the problem you're solving good right now, right? Is it needed right now? What is the urgency factor of what you're selling? Um, Higher urgency equals faster decisions plus fewer objections. So the beauty about being in business is that we decide what we're going to sell. We decide what people want. We decide what people, what we want to give people based on our skills and what we do. But we still have to answer certain questions, right? And this determines, certain outcomes in business. So, for example, the example I have is a flooded basement cleanup versus a new home organizer. So, if I wanted to get into the plumbing business versus being a new home organizer, which one would you guys say has more urgency? It's more of an urgency type business. Would it be the plumber or would it be the new home organizer? I met a new home organizer. It depends on if it depends on how bad it is. It depends on how bad some of these homes is because sometimes these organizers is life. These organizers be life. But no, I'm with you. Yes, the plumber, absolutely. The plumber. That's why the plumber always stays busy because all these homes is made bad. It's pipes. My sister's going through, some piping, some plumbing issue, urgency. And what happens, what's interesting about urgency businesses? Just like I have a close friend of mine that was an attorney, and so he used to always say the reason why I like being an attorney is because people find money when it's emergencies, when it's urgent, right? Yes, they can charge a premium, right? When you have a business that people have to find money for, like they have to pay you, that's a good business to be in. Okay, number two. So market size. Um, okay, there we go. Market size. So, okay, so now that we know um that is urgent, we feel good about it. And that's just one thing. But what is your market size? So I can tell you for seed, because I'm in a skill-based entrepreneurs, I did my research. I said, how many skill-based entrepreneurs is there in the world? How many skill-based entrepreneurs is there in the United States? How many skill-based entrepreneurs is there in Georgia? Right. And so what I realized is that out of the whole entrepreneur ecosystem, skill-based entrepreneurs represent about 60% of the whole entrepreneur ecosystem. So I had a very large market size, right? And so how many people have this problem? But bigger isn't always better, but also too small is too risky. So selling to too many people can leave you boiling water in the ocean, right? But having too small, right, is risky because now there's not enough people. And then what's interesting about market size is that market size almost means how much can you capture. So even though there's a lot of skill-based entrepreneurs in the world, it doesn't mean that I can capture them, right? So if you are in real estate and you're saying, "Hey, my market size, everybody wants to buy a house. Everybody needs a house." But you won't be able to touch everybody because maybe your license is only in Ohio. You know what I mean? Maybe your license is only in, a certain county or city or things like that. So then that limits your market size. So how many people in that state or city wants to buy a house? How many people have bought a house in the last couple of years? How many people, right? So that's how you kind of determine market size. Okay, big market. So Big market example, meal prep for busy moms. Meal prep for busy moms. How many busy moms is it? Right? Millions of potential customers, but millions in is she selling online? Right? Is she selling right? So how do you capture? So is there millions in the city that she can do food prep out of her kitchen and then just send to? Right? Is it local? There you go, right? So is it millions local? I don't know. So that is a potential big market. That's why it says millions of potential customers. Um, right? So and then hey, yep, that's it. Can a busy mom afford it? Tiny market. So custom gloves for left-handed violinists, right? Super niche, probably too small to scale. So that just means that you may find left-hand violinists, but how many of it really, how many of it is it? How many of them, is it worth creating a whole business and creating custom gloves for left-handed violinists, right? To be in it. So this is really just evaluating the market. Okay, next, pricing potential. So that just goes back to exactly what you just said. Can they afford it? Can they afford it? So actually, after you know the market, what is the pricing potential, right? And do they value the solution enough to pay it? Um, Markets that associate money with quality pay more. So look at my example. Uh, Look at my example. A tax strategist saving businesses thousands in deductions. Even a 2,000 fee feels like a deal, right? Even a $2,000 fee feels like a deal when your tax bill is 50 grand. You know what I mean? When your tax bill is 30 grand, you be like, woo, let me pay 2,500 and let me get out of here. Right. So are you solving a large enough problem to where what they're paying for feels like value? Right? Did we figure that out? Are we solving a large enough problem to what people are paying for feels like value? Um, Handmade bookmarks, beautiful, and people expect to pay $5 for that, right? Which is not bad. Which is not bad because all you need is a million people to give you $5. But what's your market size? So as this is we're gonna tap into this business language, right? Because we can't just say stuff no more, right? It got to make sense. We just gonna ask each other questions. We're gonna ask each other questions. So that's pricing potential. Okay, ease of access, ease of access, ease of access is next. And we just talked about that. How can you reach them? So we know there's a lot of people who want it. We actually know there's a lot of people who will pay for it. But then how can they find you? How can you find them? What does that look like? The harder they are to find, the harder it is to scale. Does anybody understand that? The harder they are to find, the harder it is to scale. And I got the hairstylist on here. I got the hairstylist. I think I got a hairstylist on here. Michaela is a hairstylist, right? Hairstylist with a booking link. So we want to grow clients. We want to grow clients, but then how do you reach them? How do they find you? How do we know, right? How do we know? So is it word of mouth? Is it right? Is it IG? Is it a booking link? Are we showing pictures of it? How do they find us? So remember, the harder you are to find or the harder they are to find, the harder it is to grow. The harder it is to grow. Now, there are businesses that have that does great with referral based businesses. I remember it was an accounting firm that just only, and most accounting firms, when they used to be local, um, they were all referral based businesses. And the reason why, because they were local, they were easy to find. They were a brick and mortar. So they usually served all the local businesses in the neighborhood. Um, and that's kind of how it worked. But nowadays, if you look on IG, on Instagram, it's accounting businesses everywhere. Everybody's selling you something, right? Because they're trying to make it easier to find. If you need something, I'm right here. Oh, you're looking for this? I'm right here. Right. And so that's kind of ease of access is exactly kind of what it is. Okay, competition. How crowded is this space? how crowded is this space that we are in? And I'm gonna sit here for a second, if you don't mind, because I care about competition. I care about us understanding competition. And so I was at a conference. I was at a conference and I was selling outsourcing services. I'm really big on like outsourcing. So I was selling outsource. I was at a conference and I was told that I would be the only one, right, at this conference. So they were my niche market was there. I felt good about it. It was none but accounting. So I was selling accounting offshore services, like staffing services. So I'm like, man, I'm gonna clean up. Everybody else is selling the marketing and they're selling them other things to help their accounting firm. I'm the only one selling staffing. And I get there, lo and behold, I get there, and there are two other not only is it other people, but it's two other. And at first, I was pissed, y'all. I'm telling y'all the story, so I was pissed. And the reason I was pissed, I was like, no, I'm supposed to be the only one here. Like I'm supposed to dominate this, monopolize this. I'm supposed to be the only one here. And then I had to think about it, and I had my mentor. I called my mentor, and I called him. I said, and then the first thing he said was, "That's great. That means that is there's demand. So now you just got to be the best." Now you got to find out why you're different. And what happens is that when there is competition, that means there's demand. That means people want it. That means somebody else saw there's an opportunity, and that should increase your confidence level that what you're trying to sell there is demand for. So then now we got to look at competition a little bit differently. And again, I'm gonna do a whole thing on competitive analysis. But I'm gonna stick here for a second. It's because you want to evaluate who is selling the same thing you are. And I remember in the cannabis space, my partner used to always be so mad when they when they stole like some of her ideas, right? After I talked to my mentor, I kind of like reframed my whole position on competition. So now I'm the advice giver. And she was so angry. She's like, they stole my idea. I thought of it, and of course they stole it and they offering it. And I'm like, that's a good sign, right? That's a good sign, right? That means that when someone walks into your establishment, when you go into any establishment, you should look to steal ideas because you got to see what's working. And you got to go in there with an objective mindset and say, you know what, this is working. How can I use this but make it my own? This is working. This is working. Business is competition. You are fighting over market share. That's what competition means. I am fighting over market share. Everyone is fighting over market share. Fitness people, not fitness people, gyms, right? Gyms, LA Fitness, Planet Fitness, Lifetime Fitness, right? Even though they're talking to a niche market, they're still fighting over market share, right? And market share is just a group of people, right, in the market. So anybody who's trying to get in shape is part of their market. Now, they may say, you know what, we're all in the fitness industry, but I'm gonna only talk to the rich people. I'm gonna talk to the $10 people. LA Fitness, I'm gonna talk to the regular people, right? So they all have their niches, but that's how they separate themselves in the same competition. But they had to look and understand what is the landscape of the market looks like. Who's selling what I'm selling? Are they doing a good job? What are they really good at? Right? Evaluate it. Do they have good talent? What's their customer service? So when you go into businesses, don't just walk into businesses. When you walk into coffee shops, when you walk into the barber shop, when you walk into the salon, when you walk into, we're no longer, I'm shifting the way that we think now. I'm shifting y'all. When y'all learn this stuff, your brain, you can never unlearn it. All right, I'm shifting. When you walk into any business, Sam's Club, BJ's. I got a friend of mine that go to some place called BJ's. I ain't never been into, but Sam's Club, BJ's, Costco's, they fighting over market share, right? So when you walk in, you notice what they're doing differently because they're intentionally doing it different because of what the other person is doing. But sometimes they're doing it the same because of what they're doing, right? So that's competition. Does competition make sense? Does do you guys understand why I kind of stayed here just for a little bit? Because I want us to really understand and evaluate competition. We have to go out our way to know who's selling what we're selling, who's doing the same things that we are doing. We got to know these things and we got to feel confident and good about it. Um, how we want to, how we want to express that, and how we um how we kind of lean into embracing. All right, they're here. They're here. Okay, example. What's my example for competition? So healthy competition. A wellness coach who focuses on stress relief for first responders, while others offer general self-care. So she owns a specific lane, very similar to my gym explanation. Another one, a crowded market competition, right? Another t-shirt brand with slogans. And I don't want to down anybody who creates t-shirts and things like that, but that's a crowded competition. So it's like, all right, now what separates you is not necessarily going to be the messages, because I feel like every t-shirt created every message, but the branding behind the messages, now you have to stand out. The opportunity to get in front of more people, your market size, your access, your ease to, those are the things that are going to separate you. All right, so that's competition. Growth potential. Is the market growing? Is it flat or is it shrinking? Um, you want to ride waves, not chase puddles. Um, say the object of the game is to buy low, sell high. But if your growth potential isn't there, it doesn't make sense. So, for example, I bought a record. My wife got me a record player for Father's Day. My family got me a record player for Father's Day. I'm not going, just in case my kids see this. I'm like, Dad. But my family got me a record player for Father's Day. And first off, I think I'm at that age now where I'm starting to get like record players. That's kind of a a thing. I just realized I said that out loud. Like I got a record player. I think I got my granddad that years ago. But I got a record player. Yes, record players are cool. Record players are. Don't be laughing at me, Kenya. But I got a record player. Yes, I did. So 10 years ago, I remember going to a place and they were giving records away, right? Giving them away. They were a dollar here, dollar here, dollar here. When you see records now, y'all, they anywhere from $30 to $60 each. $30 to $60 each. I just bought Stevie Wonder. What's it called? Stevie Wonder. Is it Songs of Life? Don't kill me, anybody over. I know they ain't no grandpa. I know they ain't no grandpa. Emoji. But they used to like, I don't know. Oh yeah, what else about Stevie Wonder? So Songs of Life. So I'm starting to, as you see now, the record players are back in the game. It's growth potential there. People are are growing. It didn't shrink. Now what's a dollar right now is them dang on DVDs. That's a dollar. That's a dollar right now. Would you guys get into the DVD business or the record business? If you guys were selling records, right? Which would you want to do? Would you want to get into the DVD? Is it growth? Is it growth in DVDs or is it growth in vinyls? Right? And is would DVDs come back? Would DVDs come back? All right, listen. Listen, I so in order for DVDs to come back, let's talk over that. Let's talk over that. But the goal is to talk it over. Like, guys, once you learn how to explore in business, it changes your world. It's not about being right or wrong. It's about exploring. It's about exploring, right? It's about right or wrong. It's about having enough analysis to be like, okay, the good thing about DVDs is I can get it cheap right now, right? And then you can kind of have a foresight. So somebody, I wonder if the record people saw this coming or it just kind of happened. You know what I mean? Like, I'm really curious about that because whoever got them records for a dollar or 85 cents and honestly, they used to have boxes of them, right? My cousin was a DJ in Cleveland, and I used to remember, like, at 18 I would go to the club and I used to, that was I'm a church boy, so that was my escape. I used to be like, man, I'm helping Dave, right? And so I would grab the crates of records, and he would have thousands of them. So I wonder, Kenya, I need you to have a basement of DVDs and let me know what it looked like in 10 years. Start collecting them, girls. Start collecting them, all of them. Get them all. Get all the series and everything. So, and let's see how they turn. Let's see how they turn. I'm with you though. I'm gonna rock with you. I might even donate some. How about that? I got them. I got them. All right, that's growth potential. Acquisition cost. Acquisition cost. Make sure y'all write this one down. Acquisition cost. Um, how expensive is it to get a new customer? How much does it cost you to get a new customer? Um, the lower, the better. The lower you can acquire the customer because that cuts into your profit margin. So how much does it cost you to get involved into a customer? How much it costs you for a customer to see you? That's why social media became what it is because the barrier of entry to getting people to view them and then turn them into a sale has been nothing, right? It's been close to nothing. A Super Bowl commercial. What's the acquisition for that? What's the acquisition for that, right? How much did that cost? A radio ad. That's why the music industry used to always dominate. That's why there was such a monopoly in the music industry and the movie industry, the entertainment industry. It's because they were the only ones who could get in front of people, right? They can get in front of the masses. So then if you wanted to get in front of them, it will cost you money and they will just charge you. They will say, you know what? I'm the plug. I own a radio station. I own the shows. And that's why social media became a hit because we didn't need them no more. We can do it ourselves. Would you say, Kenya? I'm always interested in how to go far. Was it what are you saying to go far with this analysis? Like how do you learn this analysis? How much
How
does it
far
cost?
to go with that analysis
Got it.
on,
Got it.
yeah.
I
Like, is
got
it
you.
the marketing? Is it the,
Yeah, 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 absolutely. So it all depends. So the analysis for acquisition obviously depends on what you're selling. Thank you for that. It obviously depends on what you're selling. In especially in social media, you would say, okay, if I do this for free, how many people am I getting? And then so I'm doing it for free and I'm not necessarily acquiring as much people. If my building is in a specific location, right? How much does it cost me to get people to just walk in? Right. And then so what you would do is you would have to evaluate if I'm doing it with no money, how much am I getting? But then if I add ads to it, if I add billboards to it, if I add flyers, if I add, so these are all costs that we put in and we just evaluate how well they're doing over a set period of time. And then that's how you form an analysis around it is that you literally put money into something and then you say, you know what, this was my outcome, this is my return, this is how I got it, so this is how much it costs me to acquire a customer. Does that make sense? All right, perfect, perfect, perfect. Yep. So we just evaluated over time. Okay, repeat frequency. I was just talking to my guy about this, man. So he has a beautiful class, a stock class. He teaches stocks and trades, and his class is pretty expensive. And not even expensive. It just goes to value, right? If you learn stocks, if you spend, if I think his class is like 8 grand. But the way that his students understand it is that if I spend 8 grand on this class, now I know how to trade stocks the rest of my life. Was 8 grand. It's an investment. So that's kind of how but repeat frequency is kind of what he struggles with. So that same customer probably won't spend 8 grand again. You know what I mean? So I got the knowledge. So then is what you're selling, is there sustainability? Is there repeat? Will the same customer come back and buy from you? And it doesn't make it right or wrong. It's just about answering the question. So it just helps us shape and form our thoughts. Again, guys, I'm changing you guys. We are in transformation mode. You guys are learning, you're changing, right? So it's about answering these questions. Is it repeat buyers? So a barber, example, high frequency barbers, right? Stylists, people that gotta get their hair cut every week. I know I need mine together. I gotta go back. But barbers who need us every week, they pre-book, they refer people, they stay loyal. Low frequency a wedding photographer, right? Great service, but that one client probably won't get married or do that same grand wedding twice. They probably don't get married two or three times. I'm not saying they won't do that. They can meet you at the courthouse for the second one, but that's you know that's $50. That's a $50. That's $50 instead of 650 the second time. So you don't get repeat of customers. Again, amazing service, but just things to consider. Just things to consider. Okay. Referral potential. Referral potentials. Will other people say they love you? If you tap into people, if you give people great service, if you're in a market where you're giving people great service, do you count on referrals? So in my business seed, I 100% count on referrals. I got to give you guys great education, and you got to go out and you got to tell your friends like, hey, listen, I know you in business, but you need this. This is going to change you. It's changing me. It's changing you. You need to know these things. I rely on things like that, right? I think this business has great referral potential. So just think about that. Does your business have referral potential? Are you doing enough for other people to call you and say, "Hey, you do my friend's hair. Can you what's your rate or what do you do? What do you know what I mean?" So you definitely want to have referral potential. And then I think this is the last one. That's 10. I should have numbered these. But does it align with your strengths? Right? Are you actually the best person to serve this market? And you know what's interesting about this is that you don't necessarily have to be, but you got to answer this question because you got to say who's going to operate. You know what I mean? Who's going to perform the service, right? You got to answer that question. So it just so happens that I'm the best person to to, to do this, right? I feel like I'm the best person. I feel like I'm the most talented, right? I got that, I got that radio voice thing going. but but I'm also a career 15-year skill entrepreneur, and I'm also a college professor, right? I also have my MBA, and I'm also getting my doctorate, right, in entrepreneurship. So there's a formula here, right, where I am the best qualified person to perform this. And at some point, you got to talk your ish, right? And you got to know, all right, you know what? All right, I'm the best person. Check. Um, I'm super passionate about this. So and on the flip side of this, one of the things I want us to look at also is I know people like I grew up so in school. I find people who just find problems and they nowhere near the best person, and they just say, "Hey, I got a problem. I found a solution. I'm gonna put some money into it. I'm gonna find some investors, and I'm gonna find some talent. I'm gonna find somebody who can fulfill this." Lots of times you see this in restaurants, right? When people franchise restaurants, the owners ain't in there flipping no burgers. They know that this street needs burgers, and I'm gonna give them burgers. And I'm gonna find people who can flip with the flippers of the flips, and we gonna make the best burgers, and we gonna do it. So franchises are great for doing this. But most skill based entrepreneurs, who was my target, the majority of them are skill based. So we are the ones that are in front of this and operating the businesses because we have the skills and it aligns with our strengths. Okay, so we always have a case study. We always have a case study. Um, and in this case study, we talked about FUBU earlier, so let's stick to it. I thought that was a really good case study. I should have put their logo on there. I really missed their logo. It was a really good one. Um, so FUBU tapped into some of their winner moves are they tapped into a massive, right, underserved cultural market. Somebody said hip hop, right? Hip hop earlier. And what they did great was hip hop was trending up. So they tapped into that market, to the hip hop market. They tapped into influencers like Fubu, right? I'm sorry, like LL Cool J. I remember when LL was wearing that with the one leg pant, right, and the thing. You know what I mean? We had the Fubu jerseys, the football jerseys. Man, what? it was crazy. It was crazy. They were in music videos. They were everywhere. They tapped into a market, and they had high distribution. They were. I remember being in Macy's, and they were, and I remember them being in Macy's towards the late end of FUBU. So we talking about 2008, 2009. I remember that, right? So they had a great run. Almost, I would say almost a 15-year run. And so, what made FUBU right? So let's look at some of the things that aligned with FUBU. Um, did they have good market size? I would say yes. They had good market size. Um, Cultural trends, absolutely. Their strengths, so the people who created it understood the market. They understood who they were talking to, so they were able to align themselves. Their strengths aligned. They had great referral potential, right? Referral potential. They people were seeing it. They were telling people about it. Fubu was in songs. You know what I mean? Like you almost couldn't. There was. I think it was fake Fubu. Think people were making fake. I think people were making. Not I remember. I definitely think people were creating fake Fubu, Fubu stuff. So that it was definitely knockoffs for sure. They had pricing power, right? And they had repeat frequency. So whenever the new shirt came out, whenever the new jeans came out, I remember Platinum Fubu with Fat Albert and all these things. We had to get the next, right? We had to get the next. So they really scored on a high percentage alignment. And so I'm gonna show us how to get that percentage alignment as well. But what went wrong with Fubu? Where did they, right? So clothing is a tough industry. It's a tough industry to remain in. Things are always changing. Things are evolving. Fubu didn't get with once kind of the baggy clothes was kind of moving out of style. Fubu didn't transition well. Um, they relied on department store buyers as their main buyers, so they really stopped servicing the customer and knowing kind of what we like disconnecting when you start making money there. You want to be careful about that disconnect. um yeah, I agree. And then the mass of people not showing up at malls anymore. Once Amazon start coming around and things like that, all that stuff kind of had a major downside for overproduction. So, and that's inventory. Inventory is assets. Assets is money. So they was like, you know, I gotta give this stuff away, right? People aren't buying it. So they misaligned with market evolution. They lost repeat frequency, and they didn't have a growth strategy. Um, so that's kind of what went wrong with Fubu. Um, but how do we learn from Fubu? Guys, the one thing I want us to really, as we're transitioning and we're transforming, one of the things I want us to realize is that we are just like every last one of these companies. We're no different. How do we learn from them? The big ones, the small ones. Start having those conversations, right? Don't say things like they suck, right? Say things like, man, what did they go wrong? How did they miss the market? What's their repeat frequency? Excuse me. What's their growth strategy? So I want us to really start having these type of conversations, right? This language, this is what you're changing into. Um, so it's 9:25. We are at the end, and I want us to talk about the scorecard framework. Um, this is our homework. This is our homework. I am introducing, I am introducing labs now. So implementation labs that are only for the Seed Village monthly memberships. So what I did was I am giving you guys the replays for free. But then what I'm introducing, because I had to do some feedback, I'm building this business, guys. So I'm working this thing. So this guys, you guys are seeing me in real time, figure out what works for everyone. So implementation labs, I have a date in mind that I'm going to share tomorrow. But what the goal is to take the homework and we're going to do it together. right? We're gonna learn it together. We're gonna do it together. So that way, everything that you learn, you can implement it in your business right away. Guys, we're not just doing stuff just to do stuff. We're not just learning for the sake of learning. We got to add the stuff. We have businesses that we need to service yesterday. We have business that we need to service yesterday. So today's homework is going to be the scorecard framework. I am going to email it to you. I'm going to email you. Not yeah. I'm probably going to email it to you. Or you know what? Am I? I don't know. I think maybe I am. Maybe I'm not. I think this is part of the Seed Village. I'm a look and see, but you guys can do it on your own, if you need to. But it's pretty much all 10 subjects that we did. You're going to score yourself and rate yourself on 1 to 5 from for any of them, for all of them. And then there's a scoring mechanism. And because I didn't necessarily do this right, I am going to. I think I'm gonna email it to you guys till you got it. There you go. Look at her. Look at Kimberly Houston. She put it in the chat for me. She put it in the chat. So those are the 10 things that we talked about that I didn't number. But I want to make sure that that we score these and you rate yourself. 1 to 5, 5 being the best, one being the lowest. And then there's a point to where as you add up these cards, you want to be close to a certain number. And I think the number is 60. No, 50, obviously, because 5 times 10 is 50. So the number is 50. And so, there's a certain range of, if it's 50 is green, then go for it. You should feel good about it. If it's yellow, we may have to make some adjustments, think about it. And if it's red, then we need to rethink. Again, remove emotion out of the business. Score yourselves on your business. So we're gonna do that together. I'm excited about it. I'm gonna do it with Seed. So I'm gonna use, everything that we do and that we learn. I'm gonna implement it with my company. And then you're gonna do yours, and we're gonna do it together, right? As a team. My founders. So it's 9:29. So this is class is officially over. Class is officially over. Um, I was excited about it, but just like I said, that was kind of what I wanted to introduce, the implementation labs, but that's not even the special offer. That's not the special offer that I want to give, guys. That's not the special offer. So stay for like 5 more minutes and let me give you the special offer. So included if you sign up, right, if you sign up, I'm gonna probably give us about a week or two, but if we sign up in these next week or two's, 2 weeks, I'm gonna make sure I email us with the specific date of the end, but you get the business plan course, right? So there's a business plan course. If you don't have direction for your business and you need to know where your business course, I am including the business plan course, and that's $500 by itself to give people direction for their business. Um, but with this is going to be included in your membership. So not only will you be able to have access to all these things, but you would immediately get to go in and do your business plan for your business to where there's structure and you have direction and now you know exactly where to go. Now that's exciting. That's how we transform a business. That's what we want to do because you cannot do this business and your business without direction, right? If you don't have a GPS and you don't have that end goal set, then you just moving, hoping that things are going to shape itself. You got to have a business plan. These aren't dated. And so I go through every section. It's 10 modules. So I go through every section, guys. It's already done and it's there for you, and that's included. So everything that's included in the $99 a month is the implementation labs, right? So that's going to be, immediately after we do night school, we're going to do implementation labs where we show up together and we learn it. We have courses, so I'm gonna have quizzes, right? So the people that come in, because we got to learn these things, guys. How do you measure what you know? How do you measure what you know? So they're going to be quizzes. There's going to be all types of sales templates and pricing and branding templates and things like that. There's a research library where our worksheets and our homeworks is going to be there. And then you'll be in the private seed community. So you'll be amongst other coaches and other people that are in there that are willing to learn and go that extra mile to really transform themselves and transform their business. And then I'm gonna do free office hours, y'all. So I'm jumping in. I'm giving it to y'all. So I'm gonna do free office hours every second and fourth Tuesday of every month from 11 to 12. I'm just gonna hop on. I'm gonna hop on, and you guys are just going to, and you just hop on, and who's ever there, we just gonna talk. We're gonna talk about business, see what you got going on. That's from 11 to 12 p.m. second and fourth Tuesday of every month. So we have office hours. And then if you need something one on one, and then you get office hours half off, and that's $200 an hour. So you get that half off. So if you want to meet one on one about your business and things you got going on, you get 50% off of that. So the Seed Village is where it's at, y'all. I'm giving y'all an amazing offer. Make sure you sign up, guys. I'm looking forward to y'all sign up. Tell people about it. But as we stated, class is dismissed. I will see you. Last thing before you leave. Make sure you download the Mighty Networks app, so we can actually be included in the community. I know a lot of you guys use the web browser, but to kind of join, and you rely on the emails, but join the app so we can get in, download the Mighty Networks app, join the community, get more involved in the community aspect. I'm gonna be more active with engagement and making sure we're all talking and we all know each other. So the My Network apps is in all app stores. So I will send over that link via email. And yes, guys, this has been a wonderful class. All right. Class dismissed. You have a good one.